I wish you all.
Chief, our next door neighbor, the Dykeman.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're in their driveway. Did they go through the trash?
Oh,
They
geez.
said, they didn't go through like the trash.
Okay,
Yeah.
it is 7 o'clock. We
Okay.
are live.
Yep.
On YouTube.
Okay.
Josh is joining us via phone because I forgot about that. He's going to be at a very important game with his son.
Exactly. And we absolutely hope his son has good luck.
Yeah.
I am here.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you, Josh. Okay, good evening, welcome to the Borough Park Summit Council meeting, November the 1st, 2023 at 7 p.m. In attendance, we have Mr. Beston.
Here.
Ms. Lopez.
Present.
Ms. Simro.
Present.
Solicitor Hayes.
Present.
Mr. Mitchell.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Kelly isn't here yet. Ms. Kehoe,
Here.
Mr. Jenkins.
Yes.
Mr. Shields.
Here.
And Chief Yarn.
Here.
We'll stand for a moment of meditation. The chief lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the
flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
We don't have anyone in our audience tonight.
We do have, we technically have the public hearing that was announced to vote on the ordinance for Lansdowne. But since there's nobody here to talk about it, we can address it when we get into the meeting at its normal time. But it's good that the paperwork is at the beginning, just so you know.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Thank you. First item is the approval of our agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Ronnie. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Frank. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Next item on our agenda is the approval of our minutes.
We don't have
We
it.
don't have those.
So many to make up.
That's okay, no problem there.
She's got a lot of making up to do, especially to me. I do, I gotta.
And of course, we have no public comment. And next item on our agenda is our police report.
The police report's there. I don't think we have any questions on it. I'm just waiting for them to get back with me on aggressive driving funding. I haven't heard yet. They're bringing out September 30th. Yeah, I'm sure they're should come from the state, but actually comes from the federal government to the state.
Right.
The federal government's budget has all referred to.
Oh,
So that's why now September 30th. So I haven't heard. But there also, everybody should get an email from one of the part-timers who's on a summer. Event. He's declining,
Full time.
full-time. I feel like we might, that means there's no one on the list under that. And I like, I know, I really would expect, but I gotta have a list, you know, and that let's do something when it happens or whatever. So I don't know if that's something the council can entertain.
I have the discussion of the civil service list later in the agenda, but we could jump into it now while Chris is here.
we do that while
Yeah.
he's here.
And the fact of the matter is, yes, at this point, we do have in writing that we have nobody on the list that is available for a job at this point. So I would suggest that it's time to consider the new civil service test, especially since it's a lengthy process.
How much time do you need to advertise this? We want to get the maximum number of applicants, so we have a.
I
list
would-
as possible.
Well, first thing we have to do is have the Civil Service Commission meet. So that'd be like, say, 2 weeks. Then we can pick a date and a company to do the test. The test would probably take about 3 weeks to get in hand. And it would be about the same length of time, at least, to advertise. So I'd say if we have the door open for 3 weeks, I don't think we need to go beyond that. It gets too old at that point. But I think that would give us adequate time for people to reach out and network. And that would be. Oh, Harry, are you there? Well, anyway, so that would give us, that would get us to the first point where they take the test. Once the written test is done, we'll probably have the results in about a week. Civil Service Commission would meet. Hi, Harry.
Hello.
And then we can make arrangements for the oral. Figure another 2 weeks from there. So at this point, we're at like 2 months to get through the oral. At that point, we can start looking at a list. So I'm figuring if we vote on this today, we might have somebody by mid-January.
But we're not, right now, nobody.
We might have a list, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Might have the ability to bring up somebody if needed by
I mean,
mid-January.
I'm just thinking like, they have that act, that said it was Lackawanna College. So do people graduate like from the police academy, like in December, May and stuff like that? Is it better to wait to give them?
I think I've seen some departments who are pretty unique in their advertising. They say that, if you have Act 120 by time of completion of the test in the world and everything.
Oh, okay. So
We can put something like that in there, so
Yeah.
if they're
okay.
conditional that they have Act 120 when they're offered the job or something.
Even as a part-timer, they would have to have that, Jen Chief, if
Any police
Part-timers already
officer
Act
have,
120.
anyone that finishes the.
Right.
I think what Councilman Shields is referring to is that sometimes there's people in the academy right now who are not finished with academy, and they're gonna graduate, let's say December,
Right.
and
Right.
they would like to fill out the test, because otherwise they may, sometimes it says you must have Act 120. But I've seen some departments advertising that said you must have Act 120 upon completion of testing when offered the job or something like that.
Yeah, I'm afraid we may miss some applicants who
Yeah.
haven't graduated yet. If we do it in November when they're graduating in December or something, but if we could get them on the list and then they could still, when we hire
My
them.
sense is you're gonna be able to have more, people taking tests this time than last time. That makes sense.
I would.
Because, last time we it's been a disaster for the last few years. And these jobs, even grant experiencing and all. But I think, starting to turn around a little bit to some degree, not where it should be, but I think you're gonna have more applicants, which is gonna be, I just said, if I do, I think we have 9 people, and I've been doing this for the last 89 years now, and there's a lot, 2 or 3 people. 2 people, one person. But now there was 9, this last time.
Because last time we had like 4 people applying or something, 5 people.
Yeah.
It was-
it was 4 and then 1 dropped out, so we had 3. For a list of 3.
And the list will be good for 2 years after it's completed. So, yeah.
I think if.
Once they get a job somewhere else.
Council gets to, if the list, if they get to, before the council, the list expires. The meeting before it expires, they can extend it for 1 more year.
Yeah, we could,
Yeah.
right,
go
we could
3.
do that if we had a good list with available.
We haven't been that
applicants.
lucky though, the last couple of years,
No.
because they've gone through other departments.
Well, that's,
They've been
that's
on
what
our
happens,
list
and
and then,
they're
yeah.
not gonna wait around for us.
Oh, no, no,
But I mean,
No.
it's,
you are correct.
but I think, I think it's a little bit better situation than it was once, 2021.
Yeah.
And Bob might have a good point here too, if we wait until after the class graduates, if you could find out when they have a graduating class, like you said, if there's one that goes.
Actually, I don't think they graduate for a while. I think they just graduate in September, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah, and the courses go a year, don't they? They go a
It's
year.
9 months or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and we definitely can't wait till September. So
Yeah.
maybe we
Oh,
can
yeah.
make a
No.
condition.
We need to get somebody on the list.
Right,
Yeah,
We
Yeah,
have,
there are.
so we need a motion to move forward.
I'll make the motion.
but also I was wondering if we Are there any of our part-timers that are interested in taking this
Oh, yes.
class or already in the system?
Yes, there.
Should we go with them first?
Well, you gotta open it up.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to open it up to
It
It
everyone.
has to be opened up to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I-
obviously they'll be invited.
They'll invite it and they'll apply and they are interested in that. And
Okay,
they will apply and whoever else wants to apply after the advertisement's done, welcome to do so too, you know.
okay.
So there's no reason not to do it now. I mean, we'll get the maximum number of applicants no matter what.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. We put that condition in that they
Right.
have.
Yeah.
Certification by the time they.
Right.
pass.
Does that affect the budget in any way if it's December and not into the next year?
I don't think so.
No?
I think, this is just a list, so it's just, yeah, these are options that if we need to hire a full-time police officer, we'll have that ability. We don't, right now, we don't need to hire a full-time police officer.
Right.
Either one.
It's nice if we had a list and a captain, and the final captain, and then something like bad happens, we can pull it out, you know?
Right,
Right.
right.
All right, so Frank made a motion.
I'll second.
Well, just a second, man. You said that they would have to have their certification.
By the time,
Our part-timers now, but they wouldn't have their certification.
no, part-timers already have it.
They already have it, Jerry.
Anybody, any police
can't be
officer
hired.
has to be at.
Say
You can't be working as a
Part-time
cop if they
workers.
have service.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
so all our
okay.
part-timers were interested, anybody else. will-
They could-
They can all take. the
They have
test.
to apply the same,
Okay,
same way that everybody else.
so then we have the first and second.
Perfect, okay. So I guess we covered all the questions there, so all in favor? All opposed? They just have it 7-0. Okay, well, thank you for that, Chief Ward.
I don't know, this is a good kind of thing, with Lansdowne, did you see my email I wrote today?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I did not get that out to everyone. It's been happening too fast. I'm gonna discuss it with Lansdowne when we get to
Like
talk
the
about it.
idea.
Yeah,
all the time.
but the state is telling us we have to.
It seems
It's all or nothing.
That
We'll get to
doesn't-
that when we
yeah,
talk about it.
but that worries me a little, yeah.
I know.
Do you wanna talk about
that
it
while
before you
he's
leave?
here.
Do we want
Yeah,
to?
let's go to that.
So the Lansdowne ordinance, we advertised the Lansdowne ordinance. Christine, I don't know if I want to thank you or not. We found out from PennDOT that we don't have a permit. Here is the scenario. The road itself, all roads that intersect with state roads need to be permitted with the state. This road existed long before that rule came in effect, and they admitted that most existing roads, when they put this in effect, they never bothered to apply, but there's no grandfathering. So the state cannot authorize signage for something that isn't allowed to begin with. So technically, the road isn't legal. We had a long volley back and forth with PennDOT because the argument in theory makes sense, but the reality is when we're talking safety, that should override everything. And they agreed. So the Bob Wazelchak from the public safety engineer did agree and put in writing that he would allow us to move forward with this if we did adopt the ordinance because of the safety issue, recognizing the fact that we still have to file for a permit. But waiting for the permit could be months because there's a lot of engineering and probably upgrades that have to be made before they would be approved. So we might be talking next summer. So that's where we stand with that. So the only thing though is he said that he does not approve of the limited hours. He feels that the safety is that if there's a safety issue turning left, we should just ban left turns, period. So they will approve a sign banning all left turns.
Yeah.
And I know you don't,
But I find that, hard to swallow, because the people in that, even at Lansdowne Avenue, Walnut, all those people living in that area down in there, Ash Street and so forth, they're all gonna have to go up Lansdowne Avenue.
I explained
And light
that
up at the
to
top of
them.
the hill, the stop sign. And I would encourage you guys to take a travel up there and try to pull off, that stop sign. That's just as dangerous in some ways. So
Yeah.
when you have 20 all the time, I think you're gonna have. Then if you're trying to go to like Ace Hardware or something, you're gonna have to come back down Maple. And you're gonna have all this traffic coming down Maple, and additional traffic coming down Maple.
Right.
And I just think that's,
So the issue is either we do it, ban it completely, or we don't ban it. But we have the issue with the fact that it has been determined to be unsafe.
Do they
So-
give any consideration, Virginia, to the fact that our engineers specifically recommended limiting it during these hours because of the time of the accidents? That's the
I
recommendation.
explained to him that they asked me why the hours were limited. And I said, because we did a study and we determined there was a safety issue, but it was only during the rush hour. At other times, we weren't having the issue. And he says, for whatever reason, and I explained to him also our concerns that if we banned it completely, we'd be just redirecting traffic to other roads. And, you know, that could be a whole new problem. And they
Didn't hold any water.
didn't bend.
So with that in mind, should Colwell Nagley look at that? In terms of impact on traffic, because this recommendation, so it's based
I
on
think.
8 out of 11
examine-
accidents being during that
Examine
time
the
period.
impact that would cause of that left, you know.
That's
Because
my
that could
only
be a
concern.
safety problem that we developed, built ourselves. You know.
So we're thinking that we want to table this while we determine if the alternative is less or more dangerous than this.
What are we voting on tonight? Are we voting on the notice? Are we?
No, we already advertised it.
Well,
We
how
have-
come we changed? Initially, it was just for 2 hours, and now we're trying to say that there's no turn.
The ordinance is specific to limiting it between 3 to 6 PM, the ordinance as drafted.
We'll
But
change
that's not,
Amend
that won't work.
I understand, yeah.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I
that's
think we
based
need
on
to
the
let the neighbors know this is the new situation. They have an opinion on this, and I think we should really listen to what they have. to say.
Okay, but
But if the state's telling us there's no left turn at all, is
Right.
their opinion
Right.
even relevant at this point? Once the state is mandating that once you put a sign, it needs to prevent any left turn?
the state will, it's either, at this point, either we put a sign or we don't. Either we ban it or we don't. They require approval for any signage we put up and any regulations we put on this intersection with their road. And they will not approve it if it's conditional,
So
3
there's-
hours a
So
day.
there's no special hours. It's either.
Right.
It's all or
we can't-
nothing.
Right.
Any
Right.
scenario or just with
I
us?
think we're
Huh?
caught.
Are they saying in any scenario they won't approve that, or just based on our particular facts?
No, he said ban left turns completely, period, end of
I think
sentence.
we're caught between the rock and the hard point here because we've already been told that it's a safety issue.
Right.
And
That's my
we've
concern.
already notified PennDOT that it's a safety issue. And they've come back to us with an agreement that they wholeheartedly support, which means
They've
no
agreed
turns,
it's a safety
no
issue.
turns at all. And if we don't abide by that and don't put any signage up and somebody has an accident, I think we're gonna be caught. I think we're gonna be in
Can I-
trouble
can I-
because
Can I say this? Maybe we should, have I hate to say this, but another study, of Abington and Lansdowne.
Yeah.
Because our defense is that we may cause something, we may create another hazard doing this.
well,
Then we
My
may be liable.
concern, and I just want to say, I have no problem with doing that study,
Mhm.
but should we keep moving forward while we do that study? Because we can always change course. But if we say we're gonna stop and do nothing while we do that study and something
I
happens,
think.
Yeah.
where's our liability? That's
Yeah.
my concern. After that big argument and this public discussion about how we've agreed there's a safety issue and PennDOT has agreed there's a safety issue. If we say, well, let's wait 2 more months and
Yeah.
do nothing, I don't know, I'm nervous.
My concern is this, is already we've gotten a letter about how dangerous the road is, accidents. If we do nothing, then we're liable. Am I right?
yeah,
I don't see doing nothing as an option. Because now we know from that study that there is a potential
Hazard.
harm.
an issue.
My only concern is that this ordinance as drafted is not consistent with what we would be doing.
Mhm.
And then I would just be hesitant without at least a conversation
Sure.
about the overall impact of that. So
We
I don't-
haven't,
I
we
think-
haven't done
I
the
think-
notice requirements for this ordinance. This is a completely
Okay.
different ordinance.
So-
we're voting. You wanna vote on tonight than what was noticed to.
I think this is
And
gonna
if you do that,
have to
I
be
think
tabled.
you're doing a switch on the public, and I think that's a problem.
Let's
Yeah.
suggest this then. We ask the engineers if they can get a study done before next month. In the meantime, let's amend this ordinance to reflect PennDOT's requirements
Yeah.
and advertise it. So if we have the results of that and we still need to move forward, we can do so in December. Is that good with
Yeah,
everyone?
because
Actually-
you know what,
But actually, one other quick question. So Chief Yards, I mean, one of your concerns is if we ban all the turns at this intersection, that could cause problems for other intersections and other parts of it.
Because the people that wanna go that way, have to find a different way to go, cause they can't go. You wanna make a left turn, you always get a left turn, you go to Starbucks, to Vance Auto Parts, all McDonald's, all those places down there. Now you're gonna, if you live over in Lansdowne,
But
Walnut
then they're
Street,
gonna be going
you have to
up,
go up, you have to go up the top of South
but
Avenue.
then it's a right-hand turn, not a left-hand turn.
Some
Left-hand
people are
turns
gonna
much
make
more
the,
dangerous.
some people are gonna make the turn anyway. They're
Well,
gonna disregard.
But then we have the engineer. Yeah, the engineer.
That's on them, then.
Yeah, exactly,
But
exactly.
if you have concerns, let's try to have the engineer look at everything right now, so we have a complete picture of everything.
I feel like, it just makes me nervous thinking about, the people lined up at the stop sign
Mhm.
at Lansdowne and South Abington, because you're gonna get more traffic. There's no ifs, ands, or about it. They're gonna go up that way.
Mhm.
And you're correct, they're probably gonna be going right 90% of them.
Yeah, if they
But-
were gonna turn left off of Lansdowne, they're gonna turn right off of Lansdowne at the top of the hill.
Right.
So
Which
you're
is a
talking
safer
about-
turn in theory, but it's the increase in traffic on other roads
Yeah.
that maybe we
Just to
should.
tell you what I'm talking about, I think you need to go up there yourself at the stop sign at Lansdowne and South
Mm.
Avenue Road and stop and try to look left and right, and see what I mean.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I
the roads are
think
dry,
that,
and the roads are dry. There's no snow on the road.
We do know now that we're probably gonna end up having to upgrade that intersection as well.
Sure.
And if it's determined that turning right then turning onto Maple is an issue, we're now all of a sudden in next year adding two major projects to our.
I would like to make a motion that we amend the ordinance that we are voting on tonight, or that we have already approved to.
We approach to advertise. We were gonna vote on the ordinance tonight, so you're
Okay,
voting to table it while we amend it.
Okay, that we amend it to reflect no turn left at any time,
PennDOT has the final word, we all know that.
as a suggestion coming from PennDOT.
And in the interim,
Yeah.
while we're doing that, we'll get Caldwell Nankley to do a
Yes.
study and try to get the results to us before next month, so
And
that,
include that in the motion.
Yeah.
too.
Now,
then,
would the guy from PennDOT, the safety guy, would he be interested in this conversation about the fact that it may be more? it might
I told
create
them
another hazard? Yeah,
I told them that.
okay, so I just thought we were creating
That
a new
was-
hazard that.
I said the whole reason why we were limiting the hours was because discussion with our chief of police expressed concerns about routing traffic into other state roads. And
Virginia
changed
made an
nothing.
enemy and a friend in the same conversation.
And I have a
today.
question, so when that is, we're amending, and doing all that, will they, be notified, the neighbors in that area of what's going on again?
They're
or you
notified.
only had to do
it's
it once?
advertised. We advertised it twice. They have the
Twice,
chance, I can
No,
send a letter to everybody on the block, but
I didn't know if it's
Yeah.
necessary to
I don't
advertise.
think
It's
yet,
not-
because being
it is
effective.
necessary to advertise. It is not necessary to send letters.
I think we send, I think we should send some letters, or send them a copy of the notice, that's all I gotta do,
understand
right?
that. To amend a resolution, do you have to re-advertise? Because it's changing.
It's an ordinance, yeah. That's what
I have
Mary
the-
Claire is saying, yes, we do.
Yeah, you have to, right?
But I don't think it hurts to send a copy of the ordinance to the residents, so just, we could just do this, just put it in the mail, send it to them, let them know what's going on.
Okay, I will not have.
No, just the ones on the street, on the inside.
There's probably 100 people here on Lansdowne.
Yeah. And it affects the entire area, just not Lansdowne.
Yeah,
Because we're redirecting traffic.
the whole issue is if
Yeah.
you read the papers,
So PennDOT has the final word.
How much,
They're not gonna
how
bend.
much is the stamp? 80 cents, so, and it's 100 people, $80, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think it's even gonna break us, I think, you can let the least people know that's what's gonna happen on their street, because they may not, they may come back and may not be real happy that they can never make another left turn
I
again.
think it's a waste of time and money.
The
do that.
concern is if the study says we have to take this action or that action, it
Then we have
doesn't
to take
matter
it.
what they
Right.
want.
And I feel like they're gonna get more.
If there's a
experience saying, well,
safety
why did
issue,
you
we
ask
have to
my
act on
opinion?
they're on the side of safety, not on the side of popularity. That's my concern.
We're
I mean,
at-
that's where we'll have this, we can have our study and we can also see about other traffic issues too. I don't know, I would think, closing it down, all no left turns forever and ever, I mean, I don't know if that's not what we agreed
I'm
to
not
in the beginning,
objecting
that's not what
to
our
anything,
engineers said.
including sending notices out. I just need to remind you that we're talking about safety versus popularity. And I think that you need to consider that when you're making your
If we're
vote.
sending out these notices, I just don't want you getting bombarded with calls opposing it when, in all honesty, it's the state, so it's not like we're going to change the signage based upon people not being in favor of it.
No,
PennDOT will generally not bend it. Virginia,
So I
you know
just
that
feel
as
like it's
well
a
as I do.
waste
And
of
that,
resources and time to advertise something that we cannot alter based upon what their response is.
and in the same light,
It's the
we shouldn't
state.
bend either, like, I
Yeah.
agree with,
It's the state.
with what Frank is saying, and at the same point, we shouldn't bend either, because it's a safety factor.
I don't
We're-
think we, I
we're
don't think we
tasked
have
with
much of
looking
a
out for
choice,
the
Dave.
resident safety, and that's what we're trying to do.
I know, we have no choice. We got the letter, Lee explained people had many accidents, so we're liable for that. PennDOT, I've worked with them a couple of times, they don't bend. It's, what they say is what happened, so.
The rule of
To
law.
be fair to the office and the council, this has been in the papers.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
It's been advertised, but it's also been articles in the paper,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not one phone call has come in yet about it.
But I've never heard, other than tonight, that we were gonna ban it all left turns.
No,
So I
no.
mean, there's 2 points I wanna make. One,
Yeah.
we noticed an ordinance and now we're trying to completely change it. Okay, it's 2 hours and so it's no left turns, period, 24 hours a day. And that is a
That's what would
completely
be
different
in the paper.
ordinance. So I don't think we're gonna vote on it tonight or amend it.
We're not voting tonight, it's
So-
other than to
I
advertise.
think we need to, I mean, I don't think it's legal to do that. I think we need to put the notice in, do the ordinance, and if we let the residents know, it doesn't hurt us, but it lets them have an opportunity to come here, because we work for them, all right? We don't dictate our views on what's safe and not safe on them. They have a right to have their opinions heard, and I think that's what we should do.
Right, but it's not as if we voted to change the ordinance. PennDOT is advising that be what the signage says, though.
Nobody
I
elected
agree with that,
PennDOT
but
to be.
I
borough
understand
council
that, but
person.
sometimes safety isn't popular. I'd rather err
also
on,
don't-
guess what, we're preventing accidents from occurring. Unfortunately, it might be slightly inconveniencing, but I'd rather stand with that option than standing on, well, I just want people to have their voice be heard and I neglected to make a safety.
I think this is beginning to advertise the ordinance.
Well, I don't think that
at
anybody's
this point.
arguing
Yeah,
that.
no,
We're gonna do that. Right.
my question was regarding just doing the right process because of the amendment, but I don't agree with sending letters. I think that's
I don't
opening
agree with
a
sending
can of
letters either.
worms of we can't do anything or change anything. It's a danger.
I
think it's a
also,
waste of
I feel though like that other safety issue of South Abington Lansdowne needs to be explored. And I think that may be
That's
helpful
being-
for any kind of defense that we may have, if we take choose that.
But we're good with that. We're gonna do the study, we're gonna advertise and amend the ordinance.
And have
The
the,
question is just now, are we sending individual letters or not?
No,
And that's-
no.
and with the engineer, it's not gonna still be at Lansdowne, it's gonna be the whole general vicinity.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the alternate routes
Correct.
and the impact on all the roads that would be affected. Yes.
So
So I'm good with that. We
amend it.
just,
I will amend the
Right.
ordinance so that it can be advertised.
Well,
as it-
need to vote.
right now, we only have one motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
In the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Favors have it, 7-0. Thank you.
I don't know. You have to ask the guy up there if you do, though. Oh, he's not paying attention right now. Let's get his attention.
I'm watching the Shark Tank.
No, the TV is on. I was wondering if it was disturbing. I was looking down there to see if it was too loud.
We're not hearing it.
Oh, if you want, I'll turn it down.
We don't hear it.
Okay.
Gary, could the chief leave?
Can I leave it? Mayor,
The
can I
chief-
leave?
Oh, are you done?
Yeah.
Are you done for the night? Yes, you may.
There you go.
There you go. You're released.
Free to go.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Chris.
See you, Chris.
Item on our agenda is our bids and quote.
Right, we had, as a result of the storm, we had two emergency repairs that we bid out on an emergency basis. The low bidder in both cases was Stefersky. And just as an FYI, and you have it in your packets, the estimate that Caldwell Nagley put together after the incident in September, the flooding in September, was for both of them well more than double what it actually came out to
What
be.
did they do on Grandview Street?
RDP, Grandview Street, it's not done yet. That Grandview is one of the two. I am.
How far out on Grandview?
Grandview, I'm personally not sure, but
Oh.
it's really replacing a section of road.
It's Knapp Road and
Yeah,
Grandview. That
you're right,
section,
Jerry.
like, it's
Yeah.
all big
Yeah.
ripples in it because. the
Jerry's
water-
right.
Before Knapp Road?
No,
Or
no,
after?
right at that
It's
intersection.
really-
Intersection? Oh, okay.
Okay,
So in other words, the water got under the road and
right.
ripped it.
buckle it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I didn't rip it up, but.
I wasn't aware that we had an incident over there in
Yeah,
Grandview.
yeah.
Yeah, so those are, we're still working on, and we're actually sent out the bids today for the work on, East Greenwood. The problem with that was we needed an PennDOT permit, which we just got, so we are just now able to advertise that. So in December, we'll be ratifying, because it was an emergency basis, I already authorized this work.
Okay,
because
do we need a
couldn't wait
motion and the
to
first?
ratify.
I make a motion that we approve the two expenditures for Stefersky for 35,275 and 34,507.50 for emergency repairs.
And we put in like the declaration, so we were able, we didn't have to bid it out or anything like that.
Correct, we did bid it out,
Oh, we did.
but we didn't advertise it and take sealed bids. We reached out, we shopped some of the ones that we work with the best, the contractors that we were most comfortable doing it. We emailed them the plans. They gave us back quotes and we worked out the best price and moved it a lot faster.
I'll second.
Okay, we can.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you can second it, that's okay. On the question, as far as the finance committee, do we have the funding for these projects? That would be my one concern.
There's two things here. First of all, it has to get done. There is the cash available in our account at this time, yes. Will it affect what's going to be carried over into next year in our sewer fund? Yeah, probably will. If FEMA designates this as a disaster, that will be
Right.
reimbursed
Maybe
and the
reimbursed.
net result will be
Yeah,
zero, so
yeah,
we'll be
that-
fine.
This would be coming out of our sewer fund.
This is sewer fund, yes.
Okay, that answers. the question. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, favors have it, 7-0. Next is our girl treasury report.
I apologize. I don't know where it went. I don't have it in the packet. Jen, can you just give us a quick synopsis of the sewer report?
I'm sorry, Sue, I thought you were doing.
The treasurer.
They're good, you could.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I want to, that's right. I didn't have it very end yet.
He's had.
I didn't have it very end yet.
She's still on. Treasurer's report.
We have a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. On the question, all in favor? All opposed, favors have it 7-0. And then our vendor payments to be ratified. There is a motion to pay the bill.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Frank. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ronnie. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Favors have it 7-0. Okay, under old business, our sewer report.
And it is in the packet, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, not much to report except that payments just, it's just
time, just all the payments going in. So nothing.
We're pretty
Besides
much
Yeah.
current at this point.
Yep. As of today.
Right. Now, is it the end of the quarter that we'll be looking at the next delinquent?
December,
Yeah.
after December 20th.
Right.
Yep, that's when I'll send the new.
So, yeah,
So we're
everything's
meeting-
kind of in good shape though right now.
Yeah, there's no increase for the boroughs this year
No,
from our.
That's great.
Right. Arwa is keeping the same EDU charge, and when we get to the sewer ordinance for rates next year, we're gonna keep the same rates too.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, Lansdowne ordinance was discussed already.
Yeah, it certainly was. And the update on the trash conversion.
Yeah, I actually have it under old business and new business because,
Oh, okay.
there's two different things. We actually have a trash ordinance that we're gonna discuss in new business, but right now, just to let you know, Sarah and Nicole are working together, amazing. They've got all the accounts entered and coded. They're really sampling and developing reports and setting up the process. They've also worked with SmartBill. They've generated the list and the letter that they once sent out. So that should be going out any day now.
Good, yeah.
To notify everybody. We expect a volley of phone calls once that happens, but at least they'll all be notified. So we are moving forward. We're on schedule. The only hiccup might be that the bills, which are targeted to go out early December, may be a little bit later. The first time we're pushing the parameters to get everything done to go out December 1st.
Right,
And that's on SmartBill's side, not ours. But
right.
we're getting there. We're pretty close to
Good.
on time with that as well. And the ordinance later when we get to it. We have a draft.
Okay. Very good. Well, that sounds like that's going in a good direction. Good to hear.
Yes.
The new business, our civil service exam, we've already covered that, Virginia.
Yep.
Okay. And resolution 2023-07, our CDBG application.
This is routine every year. We just need to authorize how the money's being allocated.
I make that
Um,
motion.
Thanks.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, favors have it 7-0. Resolution 2023-08, the meter suspension.
Again,
I'll make that
every year.
motion.
What exactly is the meter suspension about? Just so if the people who want to watch this. can know what's going on.
Absolutely. The Christmas tree lighting. That weekend, they're kind of welcome to hometown Christmas events are going to be taking place, and it's the weekend before Thanksgiving with the lighting starting on the evening of Friday, the 17th. So during that weekend, we will suspend the use of the need to pay the meters,
Right,
assuming this is approved.
right, and we've done this every year, which
People can enjoy
everybody really enjoys.
their businesses and everything.
It definitely is. yeah.
Yep.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Kathleen. On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, favors have it 7-0. And our 2024 budget,
Okay, and I know Jen should have given giraffes out last week, but we have the budgets all together and all balanced for the 4 separate funds. And again, there is a copy in this packet for you. We have the general fund, the sewer fund, the liquid fuels fund, and the what am I missing? Fire fund.
okay.
We are not talking about raising any tax millage or raising the sewer fees. So we're talking about staying where we are with our general fund, with the fire fund, and with the sewer. And then, of course, liquid funds budget doesn't have an ordinance because that's between us and the state.
Right.
So these are the ordinance that these are the budgets that I would like permission to advertise and we can vote on at our December sixth meeting.
Before we vote on it, I just wanted to say, job well done. You know,
Yes.
Getting them and
Thank
crunching the
you.
numbers and making sure no tax increase was,
Yeah,
our residents will appreciate that.
Well, and I would second that too.
Thank
You
you.
did a lot of work on that, Virginia, and we appreciate it.
So I make a motion to advertise the budget.
thank you.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. On the question, all in favors?
Aye.
Favors have it 7-0. And our ordinance, our 2023-02 trash ordinance.
Right, we got Mary Claire, God love her, she got an ordinance together for the trash collection. It's number 2302. It is several pages long, but I did have a couple of areas in here that we haven't openly discussed. So we filled in a number, but let's talk about it, what we're actually want in there. I highlighted those. I don't know that you can see it. It's really under fees. If you go to fees. Okay. The first thing is it says property owners responsible for the payment of the refuse fee for each equivalent dwelling unit he or she owns. The refuse fee is going to can be paid by whoever, but is ultimately paid by the property owner. We're good with that. The next one though, I know we have a typo there. It should be $48 per month. Or quarter. Let me get that right. $48 a quarter, not 45, correct. Then, wait, I missed something else. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go back to page 1 under administration fee. We're talking, we're going to limit this to the document. It says commercial, non-residential enterprises or residential enterprises of 6 or more units, apartments. I think we decided to go with more than 3, so 4 or more, if that's okay with everyone.
Sure.
Okay.
definitely.
4
Okay.
or more.
4
not
or
6.
more, not 6 or more, right? Okay, the fee is 48. Okay, and then going back to section 2 fees, D and E. As of right now, it says I can, it's given me permission to discontinue refuse service on delinquent accounts. We agreed we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take that out,
I
but
don't even want the option to do that.
I was just gonna say, but do we want to leave that in there as an emergency option if we can, but
Doesn't mean it has to be.
on approval of council?
Exactly. It would at least have it in place.
And then I will commit to council that before I would ever do that, I would discuss it with you guys and have an option prepared before we did that. But I feel like we don't have any hammers. So this,
Yeah.
leave it in there if that's okay with you guys.
I would think so. If that was what our solicitor would recommend, I would think that we should go through with
I
that.
think it's good to have the ability, even if it's something that general practice you're not exercising.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
want to be without that tool, if there's a situation that,
Makes sense.
do you want to add any language there that you would bring that issue to council prior?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, I can do before-
That before any shut off or discontinuations
Okay.
take place, discussion and a vote will take place with council.
I also have a question. I've been approached by different members of the veterans organization in the borough concerning the fee. 100% veterans are given the exception of waiving on their taxes. And since this is considered to be a tax, I've been asked to ask if forgiveness can be put in here for veterans who are 100% disabled so that they don't have to pay the fee.
Let me
It's-
clarify. So you're saying that they do not pay a property tax.
That's correct.
So by pulling this out and billing it separately, we'd be billing them for something that they've never paid for before.
That's correct.
As opposed to property owners that have been paying for it in their millage anyway, and
Yes.
now we're just pulling it out and making it a separate fee.
Right.
Just so we're all on the same page.
And I did ask Josh about it, when you first were gonna sit down and talk
Mhm.
about it. And he had mentioned that he was gonna bring it up, in a conversation. I don't know if he did or not, but I have still been approached by veterans concerning that
Well, if they're not paying
right now.
the taxes
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
It's not in their property anyway. right,
Well,
Virginia?
but I
They're
think
not
it,
paying property
it,
taxes, so
I
they're gonna
think
pay
it,
this.
it would be.
This-
If it's gonna be
this-
done the way,
The way the fee is being set up, unless you have an exemption there
Yeah.
for veterans, they would be incurred this
Right.
fee,
But are-
even though they don't pay property tax.
Are they paying sewage fee?
Yes,
sewage, yes, that's different, that's different. But the exception, if we could include that in here, and I'm not saying anybody who's a disabled veteran, it's only for veterans that are 100% disabled. So that if we could include that in there as an exception, that they would be forgiven or excluded on the billing.
how roughly about how many do you think?
I think we're between 20 and 40 people in the borough.
And 100% disabled, would that be by
That are-
social security or social?
Well, they get a check, but it's 100% service disability.
How do we verify?
Well, you can verify it already because you're not paying property taxes.
So it's just verifying with our tax collector.
Correct,
Okay.
and she would have that information.
Yeah, I did raise this at one of our budget or one of our finance committee meetings, and that was the conversation that we had, is that, I don't know how I think this is, if we're going to provide an exemption, and that exemption would be consistent with what's happening now, if that is a property tax exemption, but I think that's got to be specifically clarified in this ordinance as to how that eligibility is determined, and confirmed with the tax collector.
You do qualify for the exemption.
One of the-
Harry, did we lose them?
It looks like we're not available here. Certainly
I don't
does
know.
look that way. I don't know what happened there.
It looks like we're the only two participants in the meeting. I'm listed as the host now, so I think we lost them. I think they hung up on us.
Yeah, it's they're gone, I guess, as far as seeing all the other members, yeah.
I couldn't figure out what happened, but
I didn't either. I don't understand it either. Who's that? Oh, who's saying something?
that's my
Oh, that's one of
son.
your children. Oh, one of your-
It's halftime of the game, so I decided to.
Uh-oh.
I gave them $10 for the thing.
What?
And then I think I'm on pizza.
Oh, wait, we're getting connected back, Josh.
Back. We're
Are we back? Okay, there we go.
Happened. We lost the internet for a moment, but we're back.
Oh, that's what it was.
Okay, thank you for your patience.
There you go.
Okay. So anyway, the thing that I was saying is I think we need to qualify in here that every residential unit must participate in this service unless it's apartments of more than 3. And there's no proof that you're getting service from somewhere else. We can't we can't offer this service and have people shopping around.
And we do say that, but do you think this is contrary to that? It's section E.
Let me reread
under
it
section
again.
2.
Does this include our residences in the borough that are owned by Step, that have
Yes,
numerous people living here?
I think he's.
they're still gonna
I mean,
have.
it's not, I could just say I'm take care of my own trash and do an affidavit. I
Yeah,
think.
E is not saying that, it's just saying that if they're not getting it, they need to prove to us, but no, we either they're not. Okay, E, I get what you're saying. For everybody that isn't included in this program, they have to prove that they are actually getting their refuse picked up by
Right.
somebody.
So we'd have 2 exceptions. We'd have disabled veterans 100%, and then residential units with 3 or more than 3.
Or commercial, or more than 3.
Is it
More than,
four-
yeah,
is it
more than
four?
3.
It's 4 or more, so more than 3,
Yeah.
4 or more apartments, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, so E is really saying that we need, the commercial and apartments to prove to us that they've got a pickup. So I guess that is reasonable to leave in there.
Okay, that was my thought, that it would just speak to those scenarios.
I was
but if
misunderstanding
it's-
it. No,
I
I'm
think it's
fine with that.
contrary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading this right now. It says any person. I mean, I don't see anything saying
Okay,
any person who claims to be a commercial resident or has 3 or more, it's gonna be 4 or more units.
Think that should be spelled out?
I would think so.
yeah.
I
that's
mean,
fine for me.
okay.
I'll put that clear.
Well, that way they can't say, well, I don't understand it. Well, it's
any-
spelled out.
Any person, that could be me.
Okay.
Exactly.
Perfect,
No problem.
okay.
And I have a quick question. You said the 48, did we discuss a late fee? It's,
That's another thing that wasn't discussed yet, and that's what on my
Okay.
list. So the things that we need to discuss is, at what point do we put liens on properties? Do we need to add verbiage here saying that if
Yeah.
it continues to be unpaid, a lien will be put on the property? And, what are our late fees? What late fees are we gonna charge? Nobody's given any input on that, and that's gotta go in this ordinance, so we've gotta get it. Within the
Didn't we
next
talk
week or
about
two.
that at the work session?
I wasn't here, so I don't
Oh,
know.
okay, all right.
We
Didn't
didn't
we talk about that at
We
the work
mentioned,
session
no,
about?
that's, no, we were talking about specifics, not the,
Yeah,
it
we're
wasn't
agreeing
the
on that.
trash, it was about, the other ones as far as,
Oh, we were talking about the fines associated with
right,
quality of life.
45.
oh,
and
yeah.
elevated.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Okay.
here's what we're doing with the sewer. $10 for every month that they're late. Okay, that's 52 a month. This is 48 a quarter. So if we want to be consistent, we could put a $10 late fee for every time they don't pay it in a quarter.
But
That's-
they're gonna continue to pick up their garbage.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Until and unless council approves stopping it, we're gonna keep picking it up. Mascaro's getting paid.
Maybe,
they're not gonna
It's us
stop.
not.
Maybe
it's us
we're the
that
ones
are-
who-
maybe we should bump up the penalty then a little bit more,
Okay,
to $20 or $25.
What is it legally fair to go that high on a late fee or a penalty?
To go high, what was the?
25? If they're late on their
That's
payment?
my only thing. I am fully supporting that. I just
Because-
want to make sure we can do it.
Because
That
you
is
can't have
not-
the garbage laying around in the block for the week,
Right.
because then you're beating up on the neighborhood.
Well,
and
they're gonna
every
pick it
time-
up Anyway, though.
Yeah, but here's what happens. Every time that somebody doesn't pay.
Yeah.
Because it's still
Everybody-
costing us the same, everybody else is paying.
Yeah,
It's the same thing with the sewer.
yeah,
It just means that there's more that has to be passed on.
Exactly.
In other words,
Right.
theoretically, if everybody paid on time, we could reduce it from 52
yeah.
down, and that would be the same thing.
Otherwise, everybody else is picking up the slack.
Right, exactly.
Maybe we could see what other municipalities do on their late fees, on how much they charge.
They weren't I guess they weren't in the ordinance. I don't
I
remember.
looked at a couple, and that's, I know when Virginia and I spoke this morning, we knew we just needed to get something structure here to start
Mhm.
and then fill in what
Sure.
council's thoughts were on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we
so-
need to have this advertised this month, so we need to have a
Yep.
Maybe-
consensus.
We maybe have like a hardship exception or something, like hypothetically, if someone's older, doesn't have money. See, I'm thinking of a senior citizen that's on a fixed income that's just trying to pay the heat and food, and they're running behind on their garbage bill.
Let me see what other municipalities
This
are doing. in
council
terms
should
of the
take
late
action
fee.
on individually,
With that.
on an individual basis, not like a blanket. But
Council
if,
may consider.
if you've got a hardship, you come to council and say, I've got a couple of issues here. We decide on you individually, not a blanket.
Well, that was done in the past.
Yes,
We used to do that with the.
Yeah, that was-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
Yeah.
like that idea because, well, we have to have a decision tonight.
right.
Right.
Or, you know, what we decide tonight is what the ordinance is gonna be next.
We could do something.
So
and
it-
just
I
have
don't
it.
think we have to
have it
reconvene
thrown
if we're leaving it open while we think about it.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
So
I-
I think that's a fair thing. I
Yeah.
agree.
If we had to change it down the road, if it was becoming
Right.
abused.
Well, yeah.
Fees.
Right.
Yeah, you can change it to whatever you want, but
So make it
you
a higher
gotta have
number,
something now.
the higher number, and then give a hardship
So
exception.
$25
$25 late fee with
Yeah.
a hardship exception.
exception, and we're giving council discretion.
Right.
Just council discretion.
They must approach
Yeah.
council requesting it and
Yeah.
it must be approved by them. And
Yeah.
it's not effective until that happens.
Yeah.
That's the other thing we want to say in there. Okay,
How's that?
uh,
Yeah,
okay.
that sounds good.
The one other thing, I don't know where you would add it in here, but the one thing under fees is that, and maybe under section 2, we just want to put in there, rather than having to amend the ordinance every year, if we change the
By
fees,
resolution.
let's just put in there that the $48 fee can be changed by resolution.
Great.
I have that.
That's great.
If necessary, the borough will make changes to the fee amount by resolution.
You did,
prior
I'm sorry,
I do.
I'm sorry.
To any increase. in
Okay.
fee.
So that addressed all my concerns. Does anybody else have anything that they want to talk about?
Liens, how do we do that? Is it just like the same as a sewer lien, or do you just have to go file something with the monetary?
That's what has to be done.
And then
We,
like a judgment?
we've been waiting until they're a couple $100s before we file liens because
There's a cost.
we
to it.
really want to try, yeah, it costs $200 just to file it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it costs another 200. And these are all fees that are passed on to this person. It's
Do-
included in the lien.
Do
So
we need to put that in here, that fee, that liens will be handled by the borough and passed on to
that's
the
what we were
consumer?
talking about.
Is that in
yes.
here already?
No,
or-
No.
We're
Yeah.
gonna
I
add
did
that.
not.
Yeah,
but
we definitely need to do
Right.
that because we're not gonna be patsies.
Right.
Yeah, no.
And I mean, so if it's, you don't want somebody to sell the property and be gone and not. and
Right.
stiff.
Yeah, and then-
Right,
yeah,
the lien
well,
is
that's
our
exactly it.
protection. Unfortunately, it's a real long-term protection
Yeah.
because if they don't sell, you know, we've seen that. But anyway, it is our protection. So yeah, we'll add that. I'm sorry, I did have one other question.
Yeah.
You talked about under exoneration in A, you also said, today, empty buildings for 6 months or more. Right now with sewer, it's, you are paying it whether you're there or not. Whether
Right.
the apartment is lived in, whether you're a snowbird and down south during the summer, you're
Yeah.
paying it.
Right.
I don't know how you feel. Should we keep that in
Yes,
there?
yes.
I agree.
How are
It's
you
easier to
going
budget.
How are you going to find out who's leaving, who's there? Everybody has to pay their fair share.
So
we
let's
want to
just,
take, yeah, so under section 3A.
it's B, no, I'm sorry, you're right. 3A, it's the,
Dwelling unit that has
Uh,
generated no garbage for a consecutive 6-month,
right,
Yeah.
12-month period.
they're not exonerated, no.
Yeah.
So the only exoneration is now veterans, not that, or you know.
Right.
Okay.
And so, wait a minute, so also C is,
Oh, it speaks to that, so.
yes, C speaks to that, so that goes out, yes. Okay. And then we have the fines in here under penalties. So, good, so we have a,
I'm just, I mean, do we, for sewer, we don't take people to district justice, though, do we?
Well.
we
this will
do, our
give us the
sewer
ability.
ordinance does allow us to go to the
Okay.
magistrate. We do liens instead. But I think that
this will give us the ability.
leave it
to
in
do that.
there,
Yeah,
leaving it in there gives us the ability to
Right.
pursue an option. If there's like, if it's not a hardship where it's a blatant issue,
Yeah.
it allows us an option.
I mean, I guess.
I doubt that it'll be exercised often, but
I just say again, I'm looking at a senior citizen, an older person. I can't imagine taking in front of a district justice. or
No.
him in front
Well,
of-
that-
No, and
They
that's
have
what-
no
that
money.
would be the exception to the
said.
rule.
we've got
Yeah.
the liens, that's the
Yeah.
first option. This is the default if we have a real abuser, such as we had with the sewer in the
Yeah.
past.
In the past.
It's a tool in the
Yeah.
toolbox. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Virginia, could I ask a question?
sure.
I was wondering, when you were talking about the letters going out to the residents, do they have to be sent certified?
I don't know that because we're advertising the ordinance, I don't know that there's any obligation to send a letter. We're just mailing them to, and we've been promoting the fact that this is happening since last year,
Right, yeah.
since early in the year. So, no, I wasn't planning on sending them certified.
No, I just was wondering if there was talk of it. I didn't know.
No,
This is just to give them notice and let them
Right.
know what's going on.
Right.
And they can also, they can come next month to the meeting, right?
Sure.
right,
Sure.
right.
They
I'm
can-
sorry, what did Bob say? I couldn't hear what he said.
Yeah, they can come next, this is to give them notice and make sure that they're aware of the meeting next month, and they can come and express their opinion regarding the new
Oh,
funds.
okay. All right then. Thank you.
Okay,
Great, I'll make all of those changes and get that to Virginia.
terrific.
Thank you.
And then, we've got a number of ordinances that we're gonna talk about. The ones that we have a final approved document tonight, I'm just maybe in one motion, we can authorize advertising them all for next month, rather than having to do that with each one.
Exactly,
Okay, but this garbage, I'm sorry, the trash ordinance, we approved that for notice, or we put that for?
With these
With the
changes, I'm
revisions.
asking
Okay.
that
Do
part
we
of the
need a
motion be
motion
for
for that?
this. Yeah, but we could do that with the other ones, because we have to also have the motion for the quality of life ordinance if we're gonna pursue that one. And we definitely need to advertise the millage, the sewer, and the fire ordinances for December. And that has to be done
I'll
December.
make a motion
So
that we-
I was gonna say, let's do it all in one.
Oh,
So let me
Well-
just,
Well, I guess maybe, could we do the ones maybe that we have changes with separately, just so we. can
okay,
just-
sure,
yeah.
sure. So the
So
trash
change-
ordinance, go ahead.
So I'll make a motion for advertisement of the trash ordinance 2023-02 with the changes discussed here at council.
Okay,
I'll second it.
that makes sense. That's fair.
Okay, on the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Favors have it 7-0. Thank you.
Okay.
The pave cut ordinance is next.
It does not exist yet, but it is on the list. I,
Alrighty.
We're gonna- I did speak to Lou DeMarco today to let him know that I have not forgotten about him and his services, and that this is in the works. So he just said whenever council will be voting on it, for me to let him know prior to that, and that way they'll know that within the next month they would start serving our area, so.
Okay.
Have we done anything major with the quality of life?
This is the same as last week.
This is the same
Let's
as last
come up with what changes you want, and if we can agree with everything tonight, we can then make the similar motion that
Okay,
we can advertise.
we're gonna shoot for increasing the fines.
There was
Correct.
discussion on that, so I know Ronnie and Bob, I know you were not here last week, so if you want, I could just quickly go over the sort of the highlighted areas that we discussed. Okay, so with regards to changes that I would just wanted to point out from the previous ordinance, there's a few. And I'll just explain why I made the change and then see if you have any issue with that, but you turn to page 3. Under where we have our terms, the first term on the top of page 3, local responsible agent. I just took out the requirement that the individual be a borough resident. This relates to any rental dwellings. I know that that's been challenged in other municipalities. I think so long as we have someone who can respond, someone that we can communicate with, someone that will accept service, it doesn't matter if they live in Clark Summit proper, as long as there's someone that's designated. But I know that's been successfully challenged in other areas. That's why I made that change. On page 7, under service, we had indicated that service would be provided either via mail or in person. I just changed a couple things. I'm more specific about the manner in which we serve, and also I include in there that part of service is affixing the notice to the property itself. I think that posting it is something that would just be best practice. For a few reasons, but that's something that is specifically included. And then there's just some direction with how people could be individually served, or they could be served by, obviously served.
And we don't
Yeah.
keep like a list of like, I guess we go to the tax assessor's office or something to get the address for each of the owners of the property. I mean. we
Oh,
don't
that's
have-
what we do, yes.
Yeah, we don't have like a list of rental.
We do have a tenant registration, but there's no penalty, there's no fee, there's no hammer whatsoever. It's not accurate, but we do know who owns the buildings. That is filed with the courthouse, that is under the assessor's list, and we always use that.
Yeah.
And we always deal with the property owner. They can, they can pass it off to their landlord or whatever, but the person that owns the property is ultimately responsible.
I just always get nervous, like, if there may be tenants there or something like that, the tenants may, the landlord will say, I never knew about it, I had no idea the
Nope,
tenants.
we're
got this."
going to the landlord.
We'll always make sure.
We absolutely
care of
do.
that.
Yeah, posting it is not in lieu of communicating directly with the owner,
Perfect.
but
In
it's
In
addition,
addition.
ineffective.
so we have door hangers. It's just okay to just mark that we're finding them with the door hanger and stick it on the door?
Something that's on the, if it's taped on, something that's just on the, that we know it's not.
Or
gonna
a
blow
roll of
away.
duct tape to a
Okay.
window.
So a door hanger taped on will work.
Mhm.
That's fine. That would-
Did we, in section 8, were we going to increase the,
There's
Fines?
discussion of it. So the
Yes.
next one area would be section 8, which is fines and penalties. And I think this was largely the impetus to revisiting this, as I know council had expressed a desire to raise the fines, which would hopefully motivate
Mhm.
people complying with the types of concerns that would go along with quality of life. So in the chart here, you could see the fines were increased at initially. Fine 1 would be $25, fine 2 $50, fine 3 $100. We've raised them so that it's fine, the first fine is $100.
I think we probably wouldn't be too far off in this day and age as far as what's going on. If we, fine number 1, raise it to $250. Fine number 2, raise it to $500. Fine number 3, go to $750.
That's, I'll defer to council's thoughts on that in terms of when it comes to your vote. But this is consistent with what some other municipalities have done in an effort to get
Let me,
attention. And it is a big increase from the $25, but that's.
Yeah.
let me ask this question. If they don't pay, we have to go to the magistrate, which is exactly what I am doing to, not tomorrow, I'm sorry, on the 21st, I have a hearing with the magistrate about somebody that isn't paying their quality of life fines. What I'm concerned about, and especially I'm concerned that the magistrate isn't going to just say, did you take care of it? I'll give you 30 days to take care of it. If you take care of it, then we're done. So I'm worried about even collecting the 25, 50, 100. I'm worried if the number's too high, is the magistrate gonna laugh us out of the office? Like, seriously, you guys, have you ever either of you dealt with Magistrate Keeler? What can we
Well-
do that has a hammer, but that will be
My only
backed up?
My only question to the asking of the increase is, what is it worth to keep our borough clean?
I mean, so,
That's the point that I'm trying to get.
and from
across.
everything you said before, is people don't look at that fine as anything serious. I mean, they just rather pay the fine and just, go on their
Exactly.
merry way.
Exactly.
Well, yes, we've had that problem, but we also had, my problem is the worst of the worst are the people that just ignore it completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm already worried that they're the ones that the magistrate is going to just say, clean it up and we're good.
I wouldn't worry about the magistrate. I mean, the
Okay.
magistrate his job is to enforce the laws and
Okay.
be uniformly. If he doesn't like it, then that's, we can always come back and.
Yeah, he doesn't have to
So
like.
then the dollar amounts would not be something that the magistrate would say.
I understand where David's coming from, and
Mhm.
but that number does, I mean, I can't, $250 for, making a mistake, that seems pretty, that's a hammer, but maybe
Yeah.
we could keep it at
Gets
100.
their attention.
And maybe can we also do this by resolution in the future if we need to change the ordinance, if $100 is not working?
That's definitely something
We can move it up.
Now, can we put in here that we would have lien power? That's another thing that we talked about.
We discussed
Where,
that.
where we could,
And one other
go
thing.
forward and put a lien on the property. If, because it's a quality of life ordinance that, I mean, God knows, we have probably a couple in the borough now that you could probably schlep a lien on and,
Well, and something else in terms of the fine, so if you look like past the chart for section D, so the chart relates to three offenses within the same year. Once someone is beyond that, then I have it $400 for each of the following.
oh, okay.
So
That's a nice hand.
that I feel like is, not that it's in lieu of a lien,
Yeah.
just in discussing that
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah.
I
So-
think this is a starting point.
Yeah.
We all realize that the $25 ton, absolutely nothing.
Right.
So we upped it to 100. And now with this clause here, it gives us enough of teeth, maybe to put some manners on some people.
Okay.
Nice to-
All right, well then I'll hold back on my recommendation for
Okay,
250.
so we're gonna leave it here.
You know,
We're just gonna
yeah.
add a clause about changing by resolution.
Okay, I can have that.
Okay,
Thank you.
And then we can just add to it, like Bob said, by resolution.
right, and then,
That's-
and we're gonna add something about,
Take a look
then
at
you were asking about liens.
Yes,
In default of everything else, should we put in there that our last course of action, if we don't get our money by any other resource, that we could put a lien on the property? Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I think that would be a great addition.
I would just think that would be an automatic when you go to the registry, you win.
Yeah.
You go ahead and file the lien.
Right,
All right, so those two.
But if it's in writing, we know
Okay.
it.
And I like you also included reasonable attorney's fees and costs, so
Right.
we're not.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's not gonna fall on us.
Yeah, we're not gonna be out of pocket. on
Exactly,
anything.
no, exactly.
one last question that I have. Can we put something in here that says how often they can be cited? So if we write a ticket
Oh, yeah,
today
yeah.
because the grass is
Yeah.
high, like we give them a warning, they don't cut the grass, we write them a ticket today that they didn't cut the grass. How soon do we go back for fine number 2?
I think 60 days would be a long enough period.
They will get a warning first,
That's-
always. So the first fine is after a warning.
That's
But
what-
now the second fine, I don't know that we want to do it every single day, but I don't think, like, if we're talking about somebody not cutting the grass, I think waiting 60 days before we can go back again is waiting too long. By
Okay,
then, the season's.
all right.
No, we
then
say it has to be
30
addressed within
30,
15
30,
days.
how about 30
Well,
days?
that's paying the ticket.
Right, but I think,
But that's paying the ticket. When it's, but can we define that it's a new offense? That's
That's fine.
weekly. I think
That's not
weekly.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
10 days. 10 days.
Okay. I was saying
That
weekly,
gave them time.
but. 'cause
I-
that's what
I think it needs to be weekly. I think it needs to be weekly as well. I mean, don't forget a part of this too is the snow removal. And if it's too long, you can basically skate through an entire winter never touching your snow and maybe only get 2 fines. So it's gotta be weekly.
Adding something that, if, again, each ticket when not, if the problem is not resolved within a week of
7 days.
the 7 days, that will be reticketed.
okay.
Okay,
And let's put that in there, because I know I was writing that on when
Yeah.
when I sent a ticket out, I said, I will be back in a week to look at the
So
situation.
7 days?
what section are we at?
7 days.
I think about the mail going out. It takes a few days for the mail to go
Yeah.
out.
That's.
I think
I'm
it's,
just saying,
yeah,
I
but
get
10
to-
days could be a Sunday or a Saturday. I think at least you know you have a day that you're looking at it.
What section
And-
are we on?
We're under fines and penalties.
On
Page
page 8.
We're back,
right now,
okay.
so page 8. So
Okay.
it's,
Virginia, on the
We're
snow
enforcing.
and ice removal. Do they have a period in our ordinance when that has to be removed? I mean, you wouldn't give.
They
them
have
10 days.
24 hours after the storm is completed.
Yeah.
Right,
So if it snows tonight and it wraps up at 9 o'clock in the morning, they have till 9 the next morning.
right. Okay, then that
Yeah.
definitely is a different.
Now, we have to consider that for businesses, you know, I
Absolutely,
mean,
yeah.
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 Where are we gonna add that section about the 7 days?
I could do that under enforcement,
Is that under section G?
which would be section 5, enforcement.
section 5.
Or I could go under fines and penalties.
I don't know where you're at here. I'm trying to.
Kind of feel like enforcement. I think it's
Page 7,
enforcement.
Dave,
Yeah.
section
Oh, page
5,
7.
enforcement.
Yeah, that,
I would just make that.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, okay.
Okay.
7 days,
okay,
7 days,
7 days.
7, okay, good.
Of the notice date, okay.
It doesn't mean you have to go out on day 7 for every one of these. It just means that you have the ability.
You have the start date,
Yeah.
7 days. Yep.
And then, section 14 on page 11, I do address the issue of liens. So let's see.
Oh, good.
Where appeals like 45 days from the denial of the appeal. If you want to just look at that and see if that speaks to everything we would want in terms of liens. Or if you want me to add anything.
The second paragraph,
Mhm.
I agree that that's necessary. I would like it to be that, council has to approve it before we do it.
Okay.
Because people just feel that, okay, well, they're not taking care of it. The borough should go in and do it. And we can't do that every time.
Exactly.
Right,
We
so-
would end up spending the whole summer cutting people's grasses and taking away their garbage.
So this paragraph is intended in limited purposes and only for the purpose of addressing something related to grass or high weeds.
Mhm.
We're not gonna go in and touch people's homes. We're not gonna move their things.
Right.
Right,
Right.
But at a certain point, it's been continuously ignored.
like the
then
house on
Borough
Overhead.
would address.
Right,
Let me-
Highland, the
let me
house
ask
on
you a
Highland.
question. Again,
But I agree with you.
DPW is unionized. And you can't just tell them, this is a new job, because it is, they'll simply say.
No, honestly, we have hired a lawn service. We had an
Oh, a
issue.
lawn service?
A couple of years
Could they
ago,
go
we
to
had
my
an
house?
issue with some stormwater issues on a property that
Right,
ended
it's
up
extra.
dumping water on our road, and it was basically lawn repair that
yeah.
needed to be done. We got a company to do it, and then we added that to the lien.
I know, we were talking DPW, I'm
That's
sorry.
what it is saying, or that the borough could do, but no, our DPW can't. The other thing is like, the Les Coven House on 211 Highland has been vacant as long as I can remember. It's not been maintained for as long as I can remember.
Right.
They are not, I don't know, there's no mailing address. The address on the assessor's office is 211 Highland.
Which house?
Les Coven House, next to, what, the guy that, the old postman, that he's dead now,
Oh,
Tony,
Tony Odell?
after Tony Odell, there's a house, after Tony Odell's rentals.
Yeah.
There's a house there, a little
Yeah.
house,
Oh, yeah,
it's been empty for
Oh.
10 years at least.
really?
I don't know what happened to the owners.
Oh.
We've done social media searches. I've done all kinds of, I've Googled and tried to find these people. Best I can tell, the couple divorced. She's somewhere out west and he's somewhere south, or maybe it's the other way around. I cannot get an address that I can put service in.
Yeah.
So we just have to keep putting liens on. What I'm concerned is, are we gonna end up having to get a contractor to cut the grass weekly at their house? As long as this is going on, and at what point is the lien gonna be more than the house is worth? Because we've already got sewer liens on this house.
No.
Thousands and thousands of dollars, because we've not gotten a sewer bill from them in years and years.
Who's the
but there's-
deed, to the property?
It's under
Yeah.
Steve and Rachel Les Coven.
They never sold it, they just like abandoned the
Mm-hmm.
property.
But it's not gone for sheriff's sale. I don't know why. The money.
Somebody gotta be paying.
Somebody is
somewhere.
paying the taxes somewhere. It is not going to Shirley Skinner. Somehow, some way in the delinquent taxes, the county is getting the money. I don't
Somebody-
know who or how.
Somebody
Because
knows.
nobody, we cannot get a good
They'd probably
mailing
wait
address.
till like the last thing with judicial sales, and then go to the tax claim bureau, and they
Right.
couldn't deal with them to keep it off the tax claim.
Right,
Or
so
try-
but in other words, we have no way of, we have no
You don't know
Literally,
who's paying for
no,
it.
we have tried, we
We get-
tried to hire to find
This
somebody.
isn't even to require them.
See if I can.
What?
Yeah, I think I see, there's May here, May work, not a shop.
Okay, all right, good.
So that's, if there's a situation where it seems, but I'll add specifically that council would. be
Authorize
involved. Right.
Yes, I'd like
As
that.
authorizing.
Yeah.
So I'll add that to that.
Right. Okay,
And those are my highlights.
No, this is like really good. I mean, it's
Yeah.
definitely- The only-
I'm
the-
thrilled.
The only one thing, I mean, this is definitely put a lot of teeth into the nuisance ordinance. But I was kind of wondering, do we want to do like something with like, I don't know, there was the one people came and they talked about the one house that was kind of falling down and there was rats and stuff there. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I
I
mean.
have, that's the magistrate hearing I have, that's one of the hearings I have on the
Do we
21st.
have houses that are in that bad a shape that are a danger to the health and the health of the community? I mean, there are rats and their houses are falling down. Do we need to do something about condemnation? Do we need
There
to
was
think
one.
about doing something?
We did condemn a house in the past. And we condemned the house that was at the bottom of Knapp Road.
Right.
And that's since been torn down. It's now the empty lot at the corner. We were starting the process of condemnation on
Artie Wells.
Artie Wells' house until he finally agreed to sell it, thank God.
Right.
So, I mean, we have gone through that process.
Yes. Do we have like a written procedure? Cause I've seen with.
We don't have a written procedure. We do have, see, the thing is, we're covered under the IMPC, that we can use to go through the condemnation
Okay,
process.
so we can go.
So that is I'll answer that question. I'll review the IMPC and I'll show you what it says about how to handle it. And then we can.
Yeah, because I've seen some townships in boroughs, like they have their own condemnation policies and then they give it to the borough engineer to do a report and they give people an opportunity to fix it. But if
Right.
they don't fix it, then they're often getting a court order to tear it down and they charge the owner all the costs.
Two issues with that. First of all, you charge the owner, great, but how are you gonna get the money?
Yeah, that's the drawback.
Right,
But
it's money. What we've done is we've solved their problem in the case of like an abandoned home where, we've solved the problem and it needs to be torn down. Guess what? Town's gonna do it.
yeah. But
the-
we get a lien on the property, so that if the owner tries to sell it.
The
then we-
lien is gonna be based on all the fines, so we will have a lien on it. The other problem is like this house, that we're talking about on Meadow. I don't think that that's a house that would be condemned other than the situation with the rats. So like, there's no tear down process.
Right.
You're not gonna tear that house down.
But we could maybe have something in there saying if you don't remedy it, we will remedy it ourselves, and we get an exterminator in there or something, and then we could lien up the property or have them pay for it.
As much as we can enforce it,
So that would be like the remedy part, the engineer.
We'd have to go through the county for
it
that.
wouldn't be the engineer because our engineers are not structural engineers. It'd be through BIU.
They would be the ones who would
The
like.
building, the
scout-
building
We're not allowed-
inspection.
We're not allowed in the house
Yeah.
unless they invite us.
That's what he's saying. We'd
That's
pass an
right.
ordinance saying that we have the right, but if we need to make sure that it could be legally.
But we didn't
Yeah,
solve
yeah.
it in the county because we don't have a road.
I think it's separate. I mean, I guess we
No,
could try to
it's
put them
that.
together, but I think this is really good on its own,
Yeah.
so I don't know why to mix.
Yeah, we can add that as an amendment once we've had a chance to really fine tune it. But I think we need to get moving on this,
Yeah,
if that's
good point.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. there
Okay.
too.
So for this quality of life, then, we have any other changes you guys want
I'll
to?
make a motion, we move forward with all the changes that we've done
I'll second.
to this evening.
Ronnie. Great. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, favors have it.
Okay,
7-0.
the last three are SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. Every December, we pass the ordinance just saying that the millage is going to be, in this case, 29.5, same as it's been for years. That the sewer fee is gonna be 52, the same as it's been in years, and that the fire fee is 2.25 mils, same as it's been for a couple of years. So these are the same exact ordinance that we've had every year, save for the dates.
Just to confirm this, because I do like saying this, we're not raising taxes.
We are not raising taxes,
I'll make a motion to the last three,
okay?
and I will make the exception that I will abstain voting on the last ordinance, fire ordinance, because of my position in the fire company.
Okay, but you can certainly motion to have it
Yes.
advertised and vote on advertising it.
Okay. We have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kathleen. On the question, all in favor? All opposed, favors have it 7-0. Next is our solicitor's report.
So the only thing on here that we haven't discussed yet is the stormwater regionalization MOU. As you know, we had discussed making some changes to that language. That was approved. I received a revised MOU back from Lisa Matt, who was the council handling that. So what we had,
That was forwarded to everybody this afternoon.
so what we had changed was section 1 on page 1, which was the purpose, and section on term and termination on page 2. Those were our big changes, which gave us the ability to terminate in writing. That's it. We don't have to, there's no amount of time that we have to wait before it's terminated. Either party could terminate as long as we communicate our intent to terminate the MOU in writing to the other party.
So purpose has, there's no cost to the borough, and that's actually written out. And
Yes.
it's non-binding on the agreement or of any rights or remedies that the borough has.
Yes, so we just intend to move forward. This spells out our understanding between the parties. We want to formalize it. The borough is not agreeing to incur any cost. And if at any point the borough wants to walk away, then we can. So they've approved these changes, and we could.
Yeah, the prior agreement was they had 60 days, or there's a 60-day cool period where you have to wait.
Prior agreement required us, yes, to 60 days after our intent to terminate. So we would be kind of stuck in the process for 2 months after that. So they did agree to, if for whatever reason, the borough decides that this is something that you're no longer interested in, we could terminate simply by communicating and writing.
You know, made effective immediately.
Point of order before we go too much further. Number, I'm looking at number 5. Says it's a typographical, it says 2024. Just for,
Oh, it does.
thank
We
you.
just made that change today. Got it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. The one other thing actually that was under solicitor's report that is kind of hers, kind of mine. I've been talking about wanting to get an ordinance defining, putting in, impervious surface for things that are movable or temporary. And, I did get to the point where I put some suggestions out to Mary Claire. I know we have a lot going on, a lot of ordinances she's been reviewing.
Yes.
So I did at least want to let you guys know that we have moved forward. Now the next step is for Mary Claire to read through what I've suggested and then see if we could put that into an ordinance.
I hope so.
And if we do, then this would definitely solve a few problems.
That was-
Actually, speaking of that, how's SAPA doing? Are they gonna have a new zoning ordinance for us?
Jerry's on the Regional Planning Commission.
Well,
By a shoestring.
close, so-
Yeah, last I heard, they're still gonna do it
It's
eventually.
they're already, I think it's probably the issue with the landfill there that's causing a little bit of them to hold back, but other than that, and that's what I said, is there some way that the planning commission puts some pressure on them and let them know they're the only holdup that we have right now?
This is Dunmore?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
so the Regional Planning Commission's gonna send them a letter?
So,
Beautiful.
yeah, so there's pressure on them too, and letting them know that, we want to definitely have this resolved by the end of the year. So.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was something in the paper about how they're holding out on this? Everybody else has been on board for 2 years and
Yeah.
they're still dragging their feet.
Exactly.
We passed our ordinance November 2020,
Need us to
3 years ago.
Yeah.
All right, regarding,
I'm gonna circle back to the memorandum of understanding, just so that way we could close this loop and make sure that everyone is
so
agreeable
for
with
the,
us
for the
moving.
memorandum of understanding between, Borough of Clark Summit and the city of Scranton, subject to the change, noticed by Councilman, Jenkins, being modified, I'd make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, favors have it 7-0.
The end of my report.
The end.
Thank you.
And we have no correspondence.
Before we close the meeting, I just have 2 things I need to ask about. One is, emailed everybody, Mascaro's Christmas party, is a little different this year. It's gonna be only in the evening. It's gonna be at the Crown Plaza, and we are limited to 4 tickets, 4 guests. So come through me if anybody's interested in going. I know Jerry would like to, if there's other people going. If you guys want to talk and let me know, I will make the reservation just to make sure that we don't get an excessive 4, but otherwise, it's a beautiful night. Well, I can tell you,
They
it's a nice
treat you
party.
well.
Yeah,
Good spread.
the other thing is for those members that are on ACOG, I just got the word today, the ACOG meeting that would have been tomorrow is now being held Thursday, November 9th at 7 PM. They're gonna have the guy, Dan Cohen, attorney Dan Cohen, to talk about the franchise, the cable franchise. He's gonna be on a Zoom meeting with you guys. So next Wednesday,
Okay, that's the 8th
the 9th,
or the 9th. Oh,
the 9th at 7 PM instead of the 2nd at 7 PM.
And where's it, it'll be at Clark's Greenboro building?
I assume,
Yeah.
so.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and then,
Isn't the Thursday the 9th?
the ninth, Thursday.
The ninth.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Wednesday the 9th?
no,
Okay,
it's
good.
Thursday, the 9th.
Oh, that's it, Wednesday, I was saying the.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
no,
Thursday
it's
the 9th.
Thursday, the
Oh,
9th, instead of tomorrow, Thursday, the 2nd.
Oh, sorry, that's Wednesday.
Okay.
That gets that on resolved. So, and that's important too, because of our dealings with
Right.
Comcast, you know.
Right. As is noted on here, Clark's Green, Clark Summit, Clinton Township, Dalton, Factoryville, Glenburn, La Plume, Newton, Old Forge, Ransom, Scott Township, South Ave, Taylor and Waverly are all up for renewal next year. So by all of us working together on this, it's gonna save the money of each of us individually working with them. And that's what we've done in the past, which is why we're pretty much all on the same time.
It sounds like you have lawyers coming in, who's an expert.
He's
specialized.
done it,
He
yes.
is,
He's
yeah.
done it twice before while I've been here,
Yeah,
that I know of.
and he's done a great job.
Yeah.
too. And the COG meeting does not get too crowded, right, Bob?
No,
And
not too long.
we even have been there.
And that's maybe, right? I mean.
No, Jerry's just going to do the executive sessions.
Okay, well, we're gonna have an executive session.
Tonight.
too.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we do need to have an executive, I emailed that we have to have one.
In your seat.
There's also, Jerry, you also need to announce that there was one last week
Right.
after the work session.
Right, prior
And
to-
they're both contracts.
right, executive session on 11/26.
10/26, sorry.
There's some of the 11 on my paper here.
I know.
Bad day, huh?
Yeah,
So then my
Very
question is,
bad day.
are we gonna recess
I don't
Or are
think we
we
need
going
to
to-
reconvene tonight. I don't think we're gonna, these
after
are
the,
FYI things and starting conversations for next time.
exactly, yeah.
So we don't have to, right, we don't have to reconvene, but, and hopefully we'll try to keep it moving fast.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so then we can just come back in and adjourn, right?
Right. No, we're gonna
We're
adjourn.
gonna
now.
adjourn now. and go
Okay.
into executive.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
So I motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, on the question. Okay, and we're executive session.
Okay,
I missed that.
Josh and Harry, you guys can stay on, but I will cancel the YouTube. I will turn off